Welcome to St. Paul Johnson High School as TSP Television proudly presents the 2013 East Metro Showcase. I'm Mike Peden and I will be presenting our game featuring the host school, St. Paul Johnson at 5-4, against the Lodi Blue Devils. Lodi sporting a very strong mark this season. One of the undefeated teams featured in today's slate as this showcase pits Minnesota schools against top-ranked foes from Wisconsin. St. Paul Johnson started the season ranked, dropped out of it, again at 5-4. They played some tough games, but they had a giant victory over St. Paul Humboldt in their last matchup, winning 108-56. Breaking the century mark, and Johnson not afraid to do that. They've had a very successful program over the years, led by head coach Vern Simmons, and that includes a 2010 state tournament championship in Class 3A when the Governors went 32-0 in the season where we'll never truly know who the best team was, because that was the same year Hopkins won the 4A state title with an undefeated mark. And unfortunately, because they were in different classes, they could not play each other in the state tournament, and that will be the year of continuing mystery. Let's take a look at the starters for Lodi. Number 3, Brady Moses. Number 12, Chris Sefrud. Number 21, Jordan Shea. Number 24, Donnie Mankey. And number 40, Jacob Haig. St. Paul Johnson will start number 1, Pierre Conwell. Number 2, Travis Seedschlag. Number 3, Jacob Mobley. Number 5, Quashing Smith Pugh. And number 23, Lazarick Gilbert. Key matchup for both teams. St. Paul Johnson top scorer is Smith Pugh. He's averaging 20 points a game. Lodi has 4 players in double figures. Jordan Shea leads the group with 14.9 points per game. That's going to be one matchup to watch. Johnson wearing the home black jerseys. Lodi wearing the white. Again, Minnesota against Wisconsin. This event has been going on for several years here at Johnson High School as a border battle takes place on the east side. Tip off, Lodi with the first possession, and on a breakaway bucket, number 12, Chris Sefrud. Seedschlag. Smith Pugh, bounce pass, and intercepted by Sefrud, but he throws it right back to Pierre Conwell. And that leaves Smith Pugh open, he can't get it. Second try's no good, picked up by Lazarick Gilbert. Mobley with possession, and Johnson will back off. They've had a lot of close games, just not the right result, but they have been a dominant St. Paul City Conference team in the last several years. They've won many of the conference championships and have played some thrilling Twin Cities championship games, particularly with Minneapolis Washburn, who won the 3A state championship in 2009 and came very close last year, losing in overtime in the final seconds on a buzzer beater from Ross Barker. Lodi can't hit the three-pointer. That was Shea on the attempt. He gets his own rebound. And you see the players from Wisconsin Dells watching. Lodi and Wisconsin Dells have a bit of a rivalry. They are the top 2 ranked teams in Division III. Wisconsin doesn't use a lettering system of A's. Jordan Shea with the roll. It's 4-0 in favor of Lodi. Conwell will be hit with the elbow. Johnson hasn't played many games yet. They'll have a few non-conference games later in the season, but one of their losses was to another school that's competing today, Eden Prairie. But most of the losses Johnson has suffered have been to ranked opponents or teams outside their class, which will have a little effect on their playoff positioning. But Lodi in great position so far. That's Sefrud. It's 6-0. And Shepard will be called for the grab. He would not let go of Sheetsleg's jersey. And a substitution for the Governors, number 4, DeAndre Collins. And if you followed our coverage in the last several years when we covered Johnson games, it's worth pointing out St. Paul Johnson will use up their entire roster before the first half. They are a deep team, not afraid to use it. Three-pointer is good from number 23, Lazarick Gilbert. Moses out to Haig with his first touch. And there's a guy getting a few touches, Shea. He can't get it, and it's picked up by Collins on the fast break, finding Smith-Pugh, and Smith-Pugh is called, or draws the push. Johnson, very deep team. They don't believe in his superstar theory. Everyone contributes. They all buy into Vern Simmons' system, and Vern himself is a very laid-back coach. Said he doesn't really scout opponents ahead of time. Another player in for Johnson, 2 new players actually, 21, Laquan Himes, and number 11, Robert Chattard. Traveling violation, so no basket for Chattard. Johnson, the strategy may be a little unorthodox, but they are very good at making adjustments on the fly. And that was very evident on that 32-0 team from a few years ago. But things in the St. Paul City Conference could heat up this season. It's been Johnson, all Johnson the last several years. Missing the play was Gilbert. He had a fast break look, couldn't convert. 6-3 in favor of the Blue Devils. And it sounds like I have a lot of notes about St. Paul Johnson. It's because I live in St. Paul, so I've covered the team a few times. For you Lodi fans watching, I will apologize now. I don't have that same kind of experience or familiarity with the Wisconsin teams, but this is a good way to get some. And Chatter missing, gets his own rebound, cleans it up. Lodi racing down. They can't get the layup. Fight for the rebound, still live. And Johnson picks up. Now Lodi gets it. A very quick pace, a big contrast compared to our last game between Wisconsin Dells and St. Thomas Academy. And that pace continues to accelerate. Missing the layup. Getting the putback is Smith-Pugh. He cleans up the mess from Laquan Himes. Smith-Pugh gets on the board. Johnson takes the first lead. They have scored the last 7 points. Lodi ends that streak with Jordan Shea down court. Both teams are pushing the ball. Smith-Pugh with an opening. He gets disrupted by Haig. Lodi with numbers. And I think they're going to pursue. They are. And drawing the foul is Mankey. He'll go to the line. Don't blink, or you'll miss something. Mankey averaging 6.5 points per game for the Blue Devils. This is the first trip. And Lodi is sending in substitutions, it appears. Yes. Garrett Ballant, number 2, is in the game. And also coming in, number 22, John Hatch. Mankey making both free throws. to give Lodi a 10-7 lead. And we've seen Johnson slow down the tempo a little bit. And they're going to slow it down considerably. Vern Simmons calling a timeout. 10-7 the score in favor of Lodi with 13 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in the first half. A game of streaks in the early part of this game. Lodi scoring the first 6, Johnson scored the next 7. Lodi has scored the last 4. This event has been going on for many years here at St. Paul Johnson in different forms. We've gone from 2-day events. This year it's just a 1-day event. Traveling violation. Give the ball to Lodi. And of course, with such an event like this, the games are a bit foreign to the Wisconsin teams. Because they play with Minnesota rules. Of course, when you go on the road to another state, you play by the home state's high school rules. So this will be the one time these Wisconsin teams play with the half system. They use quarters in Wisconsin. Minnesota used to run 8-minute quarters as well, switched to the 18-minute halves. Smith-Pugh cleaning up. That's a second putback in the game for the Governors, number 33, Cedric Clark. Long 2, off the heel. Collision, no foul call, picked up by Collins. And the ball ricochets around like a pinball. Hit my tripod, but we taped that down for a reason. New player in for Lodi, number 23, Brad Steinbach. Corner 3. Too strong from number 20 on Lodi. We'll get his number for you in a minute. Here's Smith-Pugh with a bounce pass and the score by Pierre Conwell. Well, the streaky nature of this game persisting. Johnson has scored the last 4 points. Gable Smith is the Lodi player wearing number 20. And John Hatch with his first field goal. But Johnson pushing the tempo as well. And Smith-Pugh get one. Both teams going deep into their bench early in the first half. And that's our first back and forth sequence among both teams. We mentioned Smith-Pugh averaging 20.1 points per game, leading the St. Paul City Conference. Can't make the 3-point play. But Johnson is up 13-12. Lodi prepared to make a line change of sorts. Here's Moses giving the ball to 23. That's Steinbach, and missing the 3-pointer was number 2, Bollant. Johnson pushing one more time, and Lodi couldn't save it in time. It's a kick ball, is the official ruling. And Lodi's first line going back in all at once. So Sefrud, Haig, Mankey, and Shea all return to the floor. Johnson, not much of a line-changing team, unless they feel it's necessary, but they're not afraid to make one substitution for another. And in that state tournament championship season they had, that proved very beneficial because against virtually any team, you had to play 11 on 11 to have a legitimate chance to win. Johnson finished third last year, defeating Grand Rapids in the Class 3A state tournament, losing to the second place finisher, Minneapolis Washburn, in the semifinal round. Adding to that long and storied rivalry, Jalen Mobley scored. No! Not sure what the call was, but it nullified the basket, so Brady Moses does not score. Tough break for the Blue Devils. Mobley losing the ball. Picked up by Shea. Shea in traffic and under duress throws it away. Johnson with numbers. Goodbye. Laquan Himes scoring. Moses, short. Rebound number 23, Lazarus Gilbert. Smith-Pugh, beautiful finish. And Lodi will call a timeout. Smith-Pugh up to 8 points. Johnson has scored the last 6. And they have a 17-12 lead with 9:59 left in the first half. Mitch Hauser is the head coach for the Lodi Blue Devils. So we've only had one back and forth sequence among both teams. Everything else has come in consecutive fashion, as we mentioned. Lodi scoring the first 6 points, Johnson scoring the next 7. Lodi scored the next 4 after that, then a couple of back and forth plays. And now Johnson has scored the last 6 points, so no giant runs yet, a lot of mini runs, but the pendulum volatile in the opening minutes of this contest. Now, we mentioned Lodi having to play with 18-minute halves. They don't do that in Wisconsin. Minnesota, the only state to use the half system. Every other state uses quarters, if I'm correct. And because they are from across states, they cannot scout each other in the same manner that other teams do. So for many of these schools, this actually fits Johnson's modus operandi, which is a lot of improvisation, but a very good job at improvisation. Lodi in trouble. There's Johnson doing a little pressure defense, but they find the open man for the 3, Chris Sefrud. The danger of a double team is sometimes you can leave somebody open. Johnson for the counter, too strong. That was number 34 in the Governors. And we'll get his name for you in a minute. It doesn't show up in the program. 3-point play chance for Jalen Mobley. Tenacity plentiful for the Johnson Governors on the offensive side of the glass. And that's the loudest I may have heard Vern Simmons squeal in a game. He's a very calm coach, doesn't get too riled up. But that doesn't mean he's without emotion. 3-point play successful by Jalen Mobley. That is his first points, and on the season, Mobley averaging 14 points per game. Three-pointer, short from Sefrud. Cleanup, number 40. Jacob Haig, and that's good for his first points. Johnson swinging around the perimeter. Now they attack inside. And Lodi draws the charge. It's against Lazarick Gilbert. Steinbach and Bollant going in for the Blue Devils. Conwell and Chatterd going in for the Governors. As we mentioned with Johnson, they will sub out. They don't have a method to it. It's whoever they feel is the best fit for that situation. So if you're on the Johnson varsity roster, expect to play and expect to contribute if you want to gain minutes on the floor. And that's one way to do it. Steal by Collins, and he finds Conwell off the bounce pass. Blocking foul on Quashington Smith-Pugh. Shea, number 23, Wahaha! John Hatch. Sometimes the names can be a little elusive, but not for Hatch, as they ran an inside reverse of sorts for the score. And Steinbach gets a rebound. We have a collision, and it's picked up by Johnson. They leave Pierre Conwell alone, and he scores. Conwell was in the right place at the right time. It's an old and cliched analogy, but it worked. And Johnson up by 5. Not for long. Kiss off the glass for Haig. He's up to 4. An undefeated record on the line for Lodi. Johnson trying to improve on their mark and stay above 500. .7:38 left in the first half. .24-21 in favor of Johnson. They will get possession. I'll say this much, the Wisconsin fans are no less enthusiastic about their teams as Minnesota fans are. Pierre Conwell flourishing. He's up to 8 points, 26-21 in favor of Johnson. We've been trading baskets for the last several minutes. Johnson looking to end that run here, and the finger roll is short from Gilbert. He was wide open too. A great steal. And a miss for the Governors.
No foul.
7:15 remaining. Himes, and 1. Actually, that was Shea. I got my rosters mixed up momentarily. We mentioned Lodi having 4 players averaging double digits in scoring. Shea is one of them, as we mentioned in the open, the team's leading scorer at 14.9. And on the season, Lodi outscoring their opponents by about a 70% margin. Well, a little less than that as I calculate the numbers, but they're still very effective. And very consistent when you look at their quarter breakdown. Again, Wisconsin using quarters for high school games. Jump ball, possession arrow favors Johnson. Coming into this game, look at this. Score by quarter. Lodi, first quarter, 256 points this season. Second quarter, 246. Third quarter, 252. Fourth quarter, 252. Johnson with possession. So their points per quarter this season, very effective. And then you take 14. And look at the numbers they've been putting up. They're averaging nearly 20 points a quarter. To be more precise, Lodi averaging 18 points a quarter across the board, so they do not drop off in any state of the game. How that will translate in the halves with the longer time, we have a foul on Johnson. That was their last to give. That remains to be seen. As again, with high school rules in other states, they still play with the quarters, so they still use the 8-minute time limit. That works out to 32 minutes for an entire game. Lodi, unfortunate turnover. Brad Steinbach was looking for Chris Sefrud, it appeared, and Sefrud didn't hear the pass coming to him, and it bounced off his back and out of bounds. Unfortunate miscue for the Blue Devils. To finish up that point, Lodi having to play 4 extra minutes than they normally would in a high school game. Johnson familiar with this setting. Minnesota switched to halves back in the 2005-2006 season. So this has been going on for several years now. A series of reverses, and now they move inside, but the shot is short from Gilbert. And the rebound to Donnie Mankey. 26-24 the score in favor of Johnson. But neither team has led by more than 6. In and out, tough break for John Hatch. Johnson on the run. Smith-Pugh can't draw the foul, can't score. Hatch with the rebound, and he is hacked by Laquan Himes, and Johnson is in the penalty. One-and-one situation for Lodi, and that's one thing that hasn't changed between Minnesota and Wisconsin rules. Still the same number of fouls. So at the line, number 22, John Hatch. For a one-on-one situation, he averages 6.8 points per game. But the possession is empty. Rebound Conwell. Johnson, that's for 3. Can't get the bounce. That's number 10, Mitchell McDonald. I wonder if he's related to the other Mitchell McDonald, who is a history teacher here at Johnson, also a prep writer for the Spokesman Recorder. I'll have to confirm that here in a minute. It seems too coincidental, though, to not have a correlation. Conwell cannot score, but he will get free throws. Conwell missing the front end. Don't have complete numbers for him, but he is averaging 11.9 points per game. One of 3 Johnson players to average double digits on the year. Bricks both, and empty possessions on both sides. .438 to go. Johnson closing out the interior. Lodi looking for an opening. They won't get one. Haig traveled. Dragged his foot before he passed the ball out to Sefrud. Shea steps back in for the Blue Devils. Clark Smith-Pugh to Mobley. Smith-Pugh uses the shot fake. Clean block. Rejection by John Hatch. And Mobley commits the foul while attempting to steal, so another 1-and-1 for Lodi. This time they convert. No empty possession. That's Moses getting his first scoring action of the day, averaging 12.1 points per game. And we're tied at 26. McDonald, or that's Clark. Smith-Pugh. Himes and Johnson again running that swing motion. Then they go inside, and the friendly roll for Laquan Himes. Just enough to negotiate the ball in the basket. Sefrud under a double team. Can't get out of it, but Lodi will bail them out with a timeout call. 3:25 left in the first half. Johnson up 28-26, and after our series of mini runs, we have not seen much separation between the two teams. Again, Lodi looking to preserve their undefeated mark. St. Paul Johnson at 5-4, having not played as many games as some of their opponents have. St. Paul Central, who will play later today against Hopkins, they're 9-4. That's the one in-state matchup we have for you today in the East Metro Showcase. Columbia Heights at 9-3, they're ranked. Three ranked teams in all from Minnesota taking part in these games. Eden Prairie not ranked in the top 10, but they play in the Lake Conference and have been formidable. Good play, Jordan Shea with the basket. And the way Johnson's has that stop and start ability, they can go from 0 to 60 and 60 to 0 in about the same time. Ball will stay with the Governors. Mobley working off the screen. Find their man, bullseye. Laquan Himes for three. He's up to 7. Like we said, Johnson does not favor a superstar, and that narrative is revealing itself as the scores extrapolate. Charge, no basket for John Hatch. He's called for the offensive foul. Johnson in the bonus, but no free throws because it's a player control foul. But after being hit with a couple of charges on their end, I bet they feel good about drawing one. Clark, and an inside feed to Smith-Pugh. Easy money for the senior. He's the first player to break double figures. But as the score extrapolates, again, Johnson not believing in one player to carry the load. It's a team ball effort by Vern Simmons and company. Smith-Pugh with 10, traveling violation on Conwell, who has 8 points. Laquan Himes has 7. A balanced effort from those players. You're seeing some of that for Lodi as well. Shea has 9, Sefrud is 7. But Johnson's approach to playing St. Paul City Conference basketball and basketball elsewhere. Backcourt violation. Good defense by Laquan Himes, who invaded the space of Brady Moses. Knocked him off balance. With Johnson's approach, you cannot contain one threat and expect to defeat them. You have to pretty much catch the entire team on a bad game. It's more talent than coaching that determines Johnson's fate. Smith-Pugh, shot fake again, escapes the double team. That was a nice awareness on his part, but Johnson can't come up with it. They get the ball back though. Third time is the charm and one. Smith-Pugh cleans it up. Johnson had 3 chances there, getting a pair of offensive boards. They take their largest lead of the game. Smith-Pugh up to 13 points. And these Wisconsin teams, despite their unblemished records to this point, at least virtually unblemished, they're getting a challenging task from Minnesota. And drawing the foul is Gable Smith. He will go to the line. One-on-one situation. Smith averaging 4.4 points per game. We saw a rather lackluster St. Thomas Academy team challenge Wisconsin Dells all the way to the end. Came close, but couldn't quite finish the comeback. That would have been a huge upset. I'm not sure if this would be categorized as such, but for Johnson, a team that's been hovering around 500 all year, it would certainly instill some confidence. Cedric Clark. I'll say this, Johnson's passes are on cue. No trouble there. It's a 38-29 lead. 10-1 run. Blocking foul on Johnson. And they are in the double bonus, Lodi is, so 2 free throws automatically for Jordan Shea, the team's leading scorer. And Shea breaking double digits. And that was the biggest run we have seen in the first half, that 10-1 mark. And Lodi puts an end to it, but they're still down by 7. .37 seconds left. Johnson may opt to hold for the final shot of the first half. No shot clock in either state, so it always makes the last minute a tactical one. But the danger of doing that is the opponent picks up on it and they'll go for the steal. Johnson brings it back, and they'll try again, but Lodi is sniffing the ball. Smith-Pugh off the screen. He gets tripped up. And Lodi will have 4.3 seconds. Plenty of time to move the ball down the court and take a shot. It will likely be a perimeter shot. If they have time. They did. And Garrett Ballon couldn't put down the runner. He had a good look though. Johnson using a 10-3 run to end the first half and take a 38-31 lead after a close contest for most of the period. So we'll take a look at the first half numbers, confirm a few things, and return. You are watching the 2013 East Metro Showcase here on TSP Television. Welcome back to Johnson High School as TSP Television continues its coverage of the 2013 East Metro Showcase. I'm Mike Peden, and I will be presenting this contest between Johnson and Lodi. Well, I have been presenting it. I'm under the weather. Cut me some slack. Johnson leading Lodi 38-31. Let's take a look at the first half stats. Quashing Smith-Pugh is the game's highest scorer right now with 13 points for Johnson. Pierre Conwell has 8 points and Laquan Himes has 7. For Lodi, Jordan Shea has 11 points. Donnie Mankey has 2, but Chris Sefrud is 7, so he's behind. And then Jacob Haig has 4. John Hatch also has 4. And those are a look at your numbers. We did confirm that number 34 is Khalil Withers. There was a bit of a jersey issue today, so a few of the Johnson players having to reissue jersey numbers for the day. It was a fast-paced first half. Johnson at 5-4, Lodi undefeated at 14-0. Number 2 in Division 3 over at Wisconsin. Number 2 in the rankings. Johnson not ranked in Class 3A, but looking to right the ship. Again, they've been hovering around 500 throughout the season. Actually dipped a little bit below it. And once again, Johnson's presence on the offensive side of the glass is proving very fruitful. Lazarus Gilbert with the cleanup. Johnson matching their largest lead. It was close for the first few minutes. Free throws coming for Gilbert. Gilbert averaging 8.2 points per game. This is his first trip to the free throw line. Splits. But Johnson is up by double digits. 10 points to be precise, 41-31. And another foul on Jalen Mobley. Free throws were not a strong suit for both teams. So foul is Mobley's third. That's something to keep an eye on. Again, though, Johnson utilizing a deep roster, so foul trouble will not be an issue for this team. Unless the entire roster gets 3 or 4 fouls. But I highly doubt that. Brady Moses with a drive to the lane. And that's his first field goal of the game. Johnson with a quick counter, again pushing the tempo to get a transition basket coming off inbound plays. That has been a popular tactic that both teams have used following a basket. Taking advantage of the brief lapse of intensity both teams will have. They tend to relax a little bit after they score. And so an opportunistic club will seek an opening. And we've had plenty of that. A lot of frenzied fast break points. And there's a frenzied block from Lazarus Gilbert. Or a blocking frenzy. One of the two. Steinbach Over to Sheedslag and inside to Pierre Conwell. He's up to 10. And Johnson up by 12. The lead slowly enlarging. Free throws coming for Jordan Shea. Substitutions coming in for both teams before we take this trip to the charity stripe. Shea's had quite a bit of action lately. Splits here. There's Khalil Withers, number 34. That's normally not his number, but again, jersey situation, so they had to make a quick exchange. Withers for three. Too strong, and it's picked up by Brady Moses. And he throws it away. But Johnson touched it. You know, they may have had the deflection to begin with. Otherwise, Johnson gave up a steal chance and bails out Lodi. Wow. Mankey wants that pass back. And before we have an inbound play, Lodi will call a full timeout. They are trailing by 11, 45-34. And the primary trend of this game that has influenced the score at the moment, well, Johnson going on the 10-3 run to end the first half, but especially on the offensive side, Johnson able to penetrate and get in solid position for rebounds, getting those second chance looks. When Simmons isn't coaching, he actually serves as the school resource officer here at Johnson and will also serve in other duties for the St. Paul Police Force. He can often be found at high school events. Again, has brought a very calm, collected approach to coaching, and that philosophy has brought him a state championship, and Johnson has come close a few other times in 4A and 3A. The year after they won the state championship, Johnson entered again as the #1 seed, but lost in the quarterfinal round to New Prague, so they went home rather early. Corner three, bullseye. DeAndre Collins with his first field goal. Lodi and can't get the response. It goes over the backboard, so a dead ball rebound to Johnson. Another example of the quaint and soothing style of Vern Simmons. He does not rank any opponent above another. It could be Hopkins, it could be Washington, Humboldt. Whatever team is next on the schedule is the biggest game of the season for Simmons. He does not put any more stock in one matchup over another. Every game is a learning opportunity. Pass was deflected off Lodi. Johnson will retain possession. They lead by 14. And another 10-3 run. I'll extrapolate that, a 20-6 run overall for Johnson if you go back to the end of the first half. Clean block. Gable Smith with the rejection. But they're going to need a little more work. Moses for three. No good. And in the fight for the rebound, a foul is called against Johnson. It's on Collins. And Smith-Pugh and Conwell going back in for the Governors. Jalen Mobley also stepping in. And several players for Johnson have scored. Again, they don't have any giant leaders. Smith-Pugh has 13, but Conwell not far behind. Lodi, that was trying to kick out, doesn't work. Couldn't set up the outlet pass successfully. Inside attack is wiped away. A charge is called against Jordan Shea. That's the second charging violation against Lodi. Johnson showing a little interior defense. Johnson in the double team, and Smith-Pugh was not in position to receive the pass. He was calling out a play, and Conwell threw it to him to escape the double team. And instead, it's a turnover, but Lodi does nothing with it. They throw it away to Robert Chatterd. Conwell can't handle it. And I'll say this, it's a good thing those walls on the west end of the gym are padded. Of course, with the smaller schools, the lunchbox, so to speak, as they call it sometimes. Lodi for three, but that's off target. And Chatterd picks up the rebound. You have some schools where the out-of-bounds line runs right up to the wall. Doesn't give you a lot of space to work with. Pull up. Missing the mid-range J was Mobley. Offensive rebound, Smith-Pugh. You know he's not going to fool around when he gets an O board. He's up to 15 points. And once again, Gable Smith scoring. It's the same tactic we have seen throughout the contest. Not long after Johnson scores, Lodi able to penetrate quickly and get a fast break playoff. And the foul is on Chatterd. That's his fourth. Again, Johnson doesn't have to worry about occupying roster space in that situation because they give their players a lot of playing time. And Lodi will not get a three-point play out of that. .11:55 remaining. And in this event, it doesn't suggest that one team is better than another. We had coverage of the Timberwolves shootout a couple of weeks ago at Target Center, and in that instance, all of the Minnesota teams were defeated by the outstate teams in those matchups. And Smith-Pugh doing his best to make sure that same scenario doesn't play out here. Smith-Pugh making his comfort zone inside the paint. And the momentum refusing to leave Johnson space. And they'll add to it. Lazarick Gilbert hauls in the rebound and scores. Johnson getting a 4-point play. The lead is now 18. 16-5 run to start the second half, and Smith-Pugh was close to adding to it. Offensive rebounds have been the primary instrument for success today with Johnson. Willing their way inside and making life miserable for Lodi. Now Lodi stuck around the top of the key. Now, thought they had an opening, but Johnson shut the door. They're not able to swing in, and seconds tick off the clock as a result. Johnson playing in the man, and it's working. Conwell with the steal. What will he do? Oh, Smith-Pugh almost had the finish, but Conwell is there for the finish. A very unselfish sequence, though, for Johnson. Three players touch the ball in the fast break play. No three-pointer from Garrett Ballant, and Johnson running away now. They're up by 20. Johnson bringing a very close-up approach to the defensive scheme. Not afraid to make contact, not afraid to get in the face of their opponent and just irritate Lodi as much as possible. And it's paying off here in the second half. Rebound, Donnie Mankey. Lodi tried to run with it, won't be able to. And they're in trouble again. Jump ball, Lodi with the possession arrow, but things are not looking optimistic for the Blue Devils, at least at the moment. They're going to need a big run here with 9:25 remaining in regulation to have a chance at staying undefeated. We saw the #1 team in Division III. We'll try again. In some trouble. Bullseye! Chris Sepperud. We'll see if that wakes up the Blue Devils. Gilbert. I should say Withers has other ideas. He drew the foul, so he will shoot a pair on the season, and it hasn't scored much. Doesn't see much action. He's one of the deep reserves that Johnson has. But as we mentioned in the first half, if you're on the Johnson varsity roster, expect to take some floor time throughout the season. And we're not just talking garbage time. Every player must be prepared to play, which is unique. I mean, most schools and even most teams at the college and pro level, they'll run 7, 8, 9 players on the roster. Johnson not afraid to use more than 10. We've had some lighting issues today. Changing the brightness level. momentarily. Chris Sefrud finding his range from long distance. He is up to a dozen. Johnson, bullseye. Withers with his first field goal. And he's already close to matching his season high. I think he's already passed it. Yes, his season high is 3, so congratulations. Sefrud tried the drive, but Johnson was not fooled this time. They can push. And they'll push to the basket and push in another pair on the scoreboard. Clark with the points. Foul on Himes, but Johnson up by 21 and not relinquishing control. As we mentioned, this doesn't say much about the quality of teams in Minnesota and Wisconsin in the sense of one team is better than another. Again, neither team has a chance to really scout each other the way they can for in-state opponents, or in the case of Johnson, even inside the Metro. So it comes down to a matter of execution, more so than other games. Because you cannot train for a specific strategy by your opponent. You have to examine, investigate, hypothesize, and then reach a conclusion and act based upon that conclusion and be willing to change the conclusion and the response to it. Free throws coming for Jordan Shea, but they'll need a lot more work in order to pull this off. Shea makes both free throws. And Johnson may opt to kill some clock here and play a more deliberate style. But they'll add a little flair. Pierre Conwell with a behind-the-back layup. Lodi saying we can score inside too. John Hatch with the pair. And now baseline drives are becoming the norm, but Collins couldn't finish. Pump fake, swish, Chris Sefrud. Lodi taking a timeout. They're still down by 17, 64-47. And again, they would need a run of significant proportions to challenge Johnson for a victory. And again, undefeated record on the line. But deciphering, not that difficult. Again, we talked about the offensive rebounding for Johnson, but if you look at the numbers, Johnson getting its usual line of support. Smith-Puke has 17, Conwell has 14, Gilbert has 10. And they've been getting a few points here and there from their other players. Lodi, Jordan Shea and Chris Sefrud both have 14 points. Take the rest of them out, you only have 19. Not a lot of distribution. And balance is always key. But again, nothing on the line. No seeding, no playoff positioning at stake. Long two, but it falls in for Brady Moses. He's up to 6, and that's what Lodi needs. If more players convert on their field goal tries, it will alleviate the tension from Sefrud and Shea. And the game not over but that's not going to help matters. A reach-in foul called on Lodi. Still plenty of time left in the game for a comeback, but Johnson with the luxury of strategy. Because if they want, they could start milking clock. Lodi playing a little in-your-face defense, but another reach-in foul is called on Sefrud, and now both teams out of fouls to give. Mobley, a no look, couldn't find Smith Pugh. Conwell blocked. Jordan Shea comes up with a swat. But Bollant was short. Lodi forcing the turnover. And they go to the hot hand, Sefrud, who drains the long two. 13-point margin now. The largest is 21. And there's the anchor for Johnson, Smith Pugh. Another inside invasion. Sefrud for three, short. And the rebound, it will stay with Lodi. It was last touched by Johnson, who was trying to dive for it. That sent John Hatch to the deck. But still plenty of time left. And Lodi going to Sefrud again. You bet. Sefrud averaging 12 points a game, currently leads with 18, and give 2 more points to Gilbert's column. He's up to 12. But you see Johnson quickly establishing defensive position. They have picked up on Lodi's preference of fast break plays. Lodi draws the foul, and again, both teams out of fouls to give. So, this is a major opportunity, a major junction for the Blue Devils. They need a lot of help, and this is where they can get some. Pierre Conwell going back in for the Governors. Sefrud, accurate with his shooting as of late, sinking the long twos. And he adds another 2. He now has the game high with 20, but his Blue Devils are still down 13. And the Wisconsin Dells team, they've left to return home, as it's a long trip back to their home territory, but they will play Lodi next week in what's sure to be a huge divisional rivalry game. With the records, the talent, and the impressive itinerary. Johnson leaving the possession empty, so Lodi with a chance. They're going to need to convert, and they cannot make any silly plays. Oh, Johnson dodges the bullet momentarily. But Jordan Shea will get free throws, and that is ruled a shooting foul. And Shea may be losing energy. And this is a key point to know, because we're coming up on the mark when these teams from Wisconsin would normally be finished up right now, and so they're going to have to play an extra 4 minutes, and that may have influenced St. Thomas Academy's near comeback in the loss to Wisconsin Dells. Lazarus Gilbert doesn't want any dramatics, though. Johnson's inside game has ruled the day. Double team, jump ball. Lodi with the possession arrow. 4:06 remaining. Johnson up 70-56. Himes will inbound for the Governors. Clark. Remember, there is a 10-second backcourt rule. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, squared. How about Pierre Conwell's performance in the paint? He's up to 16. Here's a three-pointer. Bullseye. Brady Moses with his first triple. Did it come too late, though? We'll see. It's 72-59, and Johnson has not been significantly threatened at this juncture. And they're not going to throw up any quick shots here, not with Vern Simmons and his headstrong coaching. Johnson going to be patient. They're going to make Lodi try to beat them. They can't force a strip, and they ultimately foul Jalen Mobley. It's still in the 1-and-1 phase, though, so Mobley cannot relax too easily, at least not yet. Mobley, averaging 14 points per game for the Governors, has not seen much action today, just 3 points. Empty possession. We saw this with Wisconsin Dells. Are we seeing this in reverse? Moses. And a beautiful putback by Jacob Haig. We haven't called his name much, but the lead is now 11. And Lodi maybe a stop or two away from repressurizing their metaphorical cabin. You have to imagine they'll look out for Smith Pugh. He has 19 points, and they may need to keep a body on Conwell as well. And committing the foul is Jordan Shea. He will put Smith Pugh at the free throw line. Still 1-1. So another empty possession for Johnson. And Lodi will be reinvigorated. That was a much-needed free throw for Smith Pugh and for the Johnson Brethren. Calmly, Smith Pugh converts. That gives him the game high at 21. But they still need to do a little more defense. They still have a little work to do before they can finish up. And that's exactly what they wanted. Smith Pugh with the steal. He'll drive, and a no-look to Conwell. And the finish is too strong. Oh, Johnson going against their philosophy of the last few minutes. And almost a prayer from Brady Moses. Pump faked and drove inside. Had to throw it up to avoid a swarming defense. And it's a 9-point game with 2:12 remaining. Lodi calling their last time out. Johnson still has 4 if they need them. But that's a key sequence with 2:12 on the clock, because if Lodi scores, they cannot stop the clock. As you know, in high school basketball, the clock does not stop on a made basket. So if they score, they're going to need to force a steal off the inbound pass. In order to complete this resurgence. And Johnson still likely in position to win here, but again, Smith-Pugh going for a fast break chance. Found Conwell. It was a great pass, but Conwell put too much strength on the layup and it rebounded out. And Lodi doing a better job advancing inside. Not quite survive and advance, but Johnson would hate to see it collapse here. And now they're going back to killing clock and maintaining solid awareness on the ball. Foul is on Moses, and Himes will shoot a pair. It's double bonus time for the Governors. Himes with 7 points thus far. Averages 7.2. And this is where free throw shooting drills can be useful for coaches that are watching or aspiring players. This is an example of why free throws must be an imperative part of your training regimen. Johnson clutch as of late to keep that margin from collapsing. And that just might do it. Himes one-on-one. Goodbye and one. And that will effectively seal the outcome. Johnson will move to 6-4 on the year, and Lodi will suffer what is believed to be their first loss of the season. No three-point play, but it's of little consequence now for Johnson. And how about Himes working his way up to 11? And overall, a respectable performance from the Governors. Top of the key tray from Chris Sefrud, but I'm not sure Lodi has enough time now. Because once again, we saw this, especially in the first half, and another lapse again. You score, you get a little lax, and then before you know it, your opponent has a fast break bucket. Pierre Conwell scoring for the Governors. And that was a desperation three from Sefrud that falls short. Conwell bounce pass to Himes. The inside game. A magnificent strength today for Johnson. And Brady Moses getting a little highlight reel to add to his collection. Moses came on strong late in this half, but it won't be enough. To prevent Lodi from staying unblemished. Still not giving up though. 4 players on Johnson's end have reached double digits in scoring. Lodi has 3, but Johnson with the better interior game. much more proficient. Mukwonago waiting. They will take the floor in a few minutes to play Eden Prairie. And Siegschlag missing both free throws, but again, misses can be tolerated at this point because there simply is not enough time to make up a 12-point margin. Johnson got the offensive rebound anyway, and they're not going to hurry up any shot now. This extends the game somewhat, so we will be having a bit of a delayed start. But gotta give credit where credit is due. And could this be the signature win Johnson is looking for to get them turned around and get them to return to the ranks of 3A? We'll see. This win has little effect on seeding implications. Three-pointer from Brady Moses. Moses has scored 13 points in the second chapter of this saga. But Lodi finding their third score in a tardy fashion. Himes adding to his total. He splits. But it's hard not to marvel at the balanced numbers Johnson has posted in this contest. On Lodi's end, you did get some support late, especially from Brady Moses, who gets the rainbow floater. So Lodi gonna keep fouling, but they're still down by 10. Again, this game will end in a victory for Johnson. Seprud with the game high at 23, Shea at 15, and Moses surged to 19 points, but on Johnson's end, Smith-Pugh 22, Pierre Conwell 18, Lazarus Gilbert and Laquan Himes 14 each. Himes will go up to 15. Johnson with the superior balance, and that won the day. Another bullseye from Seprud. That brings them up to 26, and Lodi still fouling. They are not going to waver from this strategy, even though they have effectively run out of time. There are 3.6 seconds left, and the clock is eventually going to beat them out. But always respectful to see a team fight all the way through and refuse to quiver, refuse to shiver, refuse to flinch from their strategy. They're playing all the way through, and for you Wisconsin fans out there, you've got to love the effort. It certainly wins our kudos, but the day belongs to Johnson. Basket would have counted had it fall, but it would have no effect on the final score or the final outcome. Johnson wins 86-77. They move to 6-4 in the year. Lodi suffering their first loss of the season. And to recap the numbers for you one more time, Chris Seprud with the game high 26 points. Brady Moses with 19 points, 16 of them, I believe, or 15 came in the first half. And Jordan Shea finishing with 15 points. Those are your leaders for Lodi. Johnson, Smith-Pugh with 23 points. Himes with 15 points. Gilbert with 14 points. And Pierre Conwell with 18 points. And those are your notables for the Governors. Johnson getting a signature win. And we'll see if that gives them momentum as they continue play, as they prepare for a state tournament run themselves in March. And Lodi will do the same. Thank you for watching high school boys basketball. For everyone here at TSP Television, I'm Mike Peden. Thank you for watching.